can I just ask a question around the unattended? It's Peter here. Does that mean as people transition, you effectively have a virtual machine sitting somewhere else, which is doing that playback that you've just done effectively? And does that that be headless, or do you actually need the browser involved as well?
Just as you said, so effectively, instead of running on a physical machine or having to remote in as a user, it'll run on a server. So we'd work with your IT infrastructure team to set up virtual machines for RPA, and the robot would actually log in, create the session, and do it all remotely. So you wouldn't have to have any sort of additional infrastructure if you already have some servers in place that we could leverage off. So it runs completely in the background, can run 24 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that answers your question properly.
No, it does. Thank you.
And also, there's obviously alerting and things like this. If the process is not successful, there's reporting capabilities around this as well. What we have is this orchestrator component which manages the interactions, and there's all reporting and sort of alerting as well as part of that.
A couple of questions. One, and I'll have both of them so you can just answer them together. One, you said it gets updated. The engine gets updated by UiPath every couple of weeks. Is there any upkeep or UAT on that, which is the peril of all the cloud systems now, is enforced changes? And the second question would be, if it's unattended, what does it do in terms of matching? So I know, at finance at the moment, they'll get a copy of an invoice emailed to them from the supplier. The supplier will also email it to the end user that ordered the product. The end user then sends it back onto the AP mailbox, and they've got two copies. Would the system know that it's already processed an invoice, or would it try and post it twice?
Happy to take that one. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So to tackle your first one, I think you're spot on. I mean, UiPath will go through their own levels of user acceptance testing and ensuring that the model is tweaked before they publish it. So it's not something that will have to be done within your organization, because, as I said, we're leveraging off a model which has been processed by a vast amount of data through UiPath. So that's handled externally through them. So they wouldn't be
Michael, you're effectively just calling a service, aren't you? So it's the data within the service that's being updated on a regular basis, isn't it? Yeah.
Of course. So there's no upkeep required from your side. What we'd want to do then is just go through that tweaking process to make sure it suits your organization. But as I said, the heavy lifting of the model is performed externally by UiPath. And then to answer your second question, so as we sort of go through the process of implementation, there's obviously going to be those questions around where does the input sit, and I think Jeff sort of mentioned it earlier. It's really just about finding what's right fit for the specific process. So like you said, maybe it needs to monitor a mailbox, or maybe it's actually the job of someone in the AP team to place it all in a folder, and then the bot will know if it comes in every morning at 2 a.m. whatever's in that folder it can process. So there's different variations that we can tackle depending on how the workflow works in your organization. And I hope that answers your question.
I think also the thing is, one of the things that's really key to do through this is when you're automating processes, not to think about them really simplistically. The reason why we have people that we call developer analysts is that they can do the coding, the development of the bot, but they can also do the analyzing of the process as well, and not just the simple process, but the what if process. What if this comes in at the same time? What if somebody else needs to check something over here? We have people that can do both sides of this, so that they can sit with you and work out all those different exceptions and, let's say, kind of complications. So if you go down an automation route, it's really key that you follow that through properly. You don't want to just do a very simplistic job of automation. You've got to think about all these exceptions and complications, and then monitor for them, allow for them, and have proper exception management processes. But that's all part and parcel of what you would expect some automation partner to do for you.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you all. I just to understand, I guess, the limits of the technology. Obviously, it's everybody watches too many films, so the expectations amongst users can be a bit extreme in terms of what the systems are capable of. So
yeah.
But that's great. Thank you.